All right, everyone. Welcome to the Good Giving Challenge 2017 information session for new nonprofits. And when I say new nonprofits, I mean those that haven't participated in the past 2 years or perhaps have never participated. If you are a recent participant in the past 2 years, this session really isn't for you. We do have one on coming this Thursday at 1:30. So if you want to hop off of this webinar and join us on Thursday at 1:30, that would be just fine. Go ahead and do that. But in the meantime, for everybody else, this is for you. So we are looking ahead to the 2017 year with great excitement, and I am excited to share with you for exactly that reason, because there's so many great things that are coming, and we want to teach you all about it. So get ready. All right, so let's talk about the Good Giving Challenge in general. So what's going to happen on this webinar is we're going to talk about getting the most out of the Good Giving Challenge. You're going to learn basically why your nonprofit should participate, and is virtual fundraising really right for your organization? It's really not right for everyone. We have a lot of data that backs that up, and it is right for a lot of people and organizations that do phenomenally well, and we can talk about why those organizations do so well. And they come from all different types of nonprofit organizations, from arts, environmental. It doesn't really matter what type of organization you are, but it does matter what kind of effort and what type of staffing and what type of different efforts that you can put into it during this particular time of year, to make sure that that type of fundraising is right for you. And we're going to talk about that, so to make sure that this is really what you want to do. Also, we're going to talk about how you can encourage your board and volunteer participation. It is vital to this type of event and initiative, and basically how you can start encouraging your donors right from the announcement to join this, and also how you can get them right involved right from the top. And you really want to do that, and how that can work for you and what you can do to make that happen. And lastly, how you can plan ahead with expert trainings to get the most out of this event. And the idea that we look at this is that not everybody fits into the same box. We've had, last year we changed our entire training program, and now with more feedback, we are even going to change it even more to make it even more effective for our nonprofit professionals and board members and volunteers that work on this. And yes, somebody just asked, did I say that this was only for new nonprofits? Yes, this is only for the new nonprofits. We have a returning nonprofit webinar for returnees that is coming up on Thursday. So if you are a returning nonprofit, you do not need to be on this one. There is one for you on Thursday. This is only for newbies. All right, so what is the challenge? The challenge has been around since 2011. It is a collaboration of Bluegrass Community Foundation and Smiley P Publishing. It is an online giving campaign designed to highlight local nonprofits across the Bluegrass and encourage charitable giving. And it has been around since 2011, and it's raised over $7 million for Central and Eastern Kentucky charities since then. Last year it ran from November 29th through December 31st, and really we've only just begun. And if you hear a little screeching in the background, we have a little tiny visitor to our office, and he just walked by, and how very cute he is. All right, so why should your organization participate? Well, we have some cool stats from last year. So 64.2% of Good Giving donors last year were first-time givers to an organization. That's huge. One of the things that I was really trying to work on last year was that we were going to attract new donors. And while that didn't work for every organization, it worked for a whole lot of our organizations, and it was super exciting to us that you were going to get new donors to your organization. Attracting new givers is something that we all look for. We have our donor base. That's really great, and we have the same people that come back again and again because they love us. We love that about that, and we want to be part of that. But part of Bluegrass Community Foundation's main drive is to make the Bluegrass the most charitable place it can be. And how can we do that but to encourage new donors, to recognize the great nonprofits that are here in the Bluegrass. And one of the ways that we do that is through this initiative, which is the Good Giving Challenge. And the best way to do that is to get the word out. And that's what the Good Giving Challenge is all about for us, is to teach people about all the great work that you do in your community. And this is how we do it. And so if we can attract a donor, even a brand new donor, a tiny donor, even a $5 donor, it doesn't matter. As long as they get to know you, that is something that we really care about. Also, why should you participate? 72.5% of donors say that they use the Good Giving Challenge to research nonprofits in the future. In other words, we do a print guide, which you may have seen around, which is a small little magazine that we put out with Smiley Pete Publishing, and they look at that to look up nonprofits that they might want to look at in the future. They may not give necessarily this time, but they keep it lying around. I know that before I even started working at Bluegrass Community Foundation, I kept my Good Giving Challenge booklets kind of lying around, because if I wanted to look up charitable organizations that I wanted to teach my children about, or I wanted to think about giving to in the future, I kept that around and I would look it up. I also would look it up online. We have our website, www.bggives.org. You can look at it now. And the post site, you can kind of see what happened with the challenge, and you can still kind of see the nonprofits that were there. And the idea behind that was we really wanted to know, if you want to know and research great nonprofits, why not do it through the challenge? And that is what a lot of donors do. They look back upon these nonprofits as some of the best nonprofits in the area. And they just want to know that these are great nonprofits you should know about. And they look to the Good Giving Challenge as that. Great nonprofits you should know about. 98% of donors said that they would participate in the challenge again. They will come back. They're going to come back and give again. And we know that over 6,000 people in this area do that every year, and it's growing. And we want to keep it growing. We want to introduce people to you. And one of the great things about this is that people who might live in Lexington but want to learn about a nonprofit or hear about a really cool nonprofit that happens to be in Harrison County, for example, that they didn't know existed, it doesn't mean just because they live in Fayette County that they're not going to give to another county. We did find that out. And by the way, we have donors that give to the challenge from all over the world, which is super cool, from Thailand, Dubai, France. We find that really interesting. And maybe they know somebody, but it doesn't matter. The idea that the challenge attracts donors from everywhere is one of the coolest things about it. So this is what happened last year. In 5 short weeks, we had 119 local nonprofits. We had 3,948 unique donors give 6,330 gifts. In other words, they came back and gave again, which we find very interesting. We raised $1.6 million, and that was something that was unprecedented in this local area. We are the largest giving event in Central and Eastern Kentucky, and that is one thing that we think more nonprofits should be a part of. We want you to be a part of it. So this is what participation brings to you. You see this picture here. That's goofy old me right there in the middle shaking Mayor Gray's hand. We had this fun rally. We brought as many nonprofits as we could to Lexington, and we had a rally. We brought the press in. We got a lot of coverage. We had a lot of people get excited about the challenge, and we had Mayor Gray made a proclamation that this was not only in Lexington, but all of the surrounding counties. This was the giving, it was Giving Day. It was Giving Tuesday, but it was also for Central and Eastern Kentucky. It was a giving day for the whole area. And we brought as much attention as we could to as many nonprofits as we could via the press with this big press event. This year we're going to have a new website, which is called Civicor. Civicor is fantastic. I think it's better than the website we had previously. It is more donor-friendly, although it was great what we had before. We like this one a little bit more. We're constantly looking to improve and make everything better for our donors and for our nonprofits. So that is what we've got going on. We have top-notch trainings for nonprofit professionals and board members. So we encourage that your board and any of your nonprofit professionals, staff, volunteers that would be working on the challenge attend. They range in everything from the first one, which is your 8-week work plan, which really is one of the most important trainings that we offer, talking about the challenge itself, really how to do it, social media training, to board and donor engagement trainings that go deeper and beyond what we think a lot of places offer, that go very much into digital engagement and looking at giving in a new and brand new way that is really through digital engagement. Now that doesn't mean it's constantly through social media or constantly, but it might open your eyes to new ways to engage donors, and that's what we're always looking for. We also are going to be constantly looking at data collection and real-time reporting in a way that you don't normally get in a giving event. And then of course you have our staff here, which has lawyers and accountants and lots of nonprofit professionals who are just dedicated to the success of the challenge and making sure that this works for you. And the benefits to you, well, everyone's going to be talking about it. And not only online, they're going to talk about it in person. We have the trainings. We, of course, promote awareness. Our job is to promote the challenge. Your job is to promote you. New donors, of course, that's one of the big deals. And the convenience of online giving. It can't be easier. It's like ordering something, a Christmas gift online. And the likelihood of greater giving. We encourage a great deal of match giving through this, and that excites donors like nobody's business. And press. We have become, over the past year and a half, kind of press gurus on this, and even more so in the past couple of months. I have gone through some serious trainings with some grants through Knight, and have been able to do some things with the On the Table initiative, if you heard about that, which brought over 11,000 people in Lexington together to have conversations about improving the area, and been really working on how to engage the press in new and exciting ways to make things happen. So I'm excited to see what can happen with the challenge based on some of those new skills. And there, yes, we have Deborah Hensley, who was running around all over with Lexington Community Radio, with the Lexington Community Radio board and staff, doing some fantastic things to make things happen. The challenge always brings out a lot of fun and creativity in people. So who can do this? Any nonprofit who has a GoodGiving.net portrait. Now, let me be clear that GoodGiving.net is totally different than the GoodGiving Challenge. They have similar names, but they are two different things. GoodGiving.net, most of you are familiar with it, but if you're not, GoodGiving.net is our nonprofit database. That is simply what it is. It's a free service that we offer at Bluegrass Community Foundation to any 501c3 who is located in the counties you see there and beyond, that you have to fill out quite a few forms, and you have to qualify through our Director of Nonprofit Services, Barbara Fisher. But it's very easy to do. Once you get all these forms filled out and you become a vetted nonprofit via this database, you are up and available to all of our donors can look through it, and really it's a free public service we offer to anyone to look at the great nonprofits that are here in Central and Eastern Kentucky and Appalachia in general. And you can see all the great nonprofits that are around. And then if you have a portrait there and you are all set up on GoodGiving.net, then you can participate in the Good Giving Challenge. It is a criteria, and you have lots of time still to do that. If your portrait is not up to date, that's okay. You can still have time to get it up to date with Barbara, or you can get it set up with Barbara, and we'll talk about that more in a little bit. Your nonprofit has to have a central office. Doesn't mean you can't you can't just serve these counties, but you have to have a central office based in Anderson, Bourbon, Boyle, Clark, Fayette, Franklin, Harrison, Jessamine, Madison, Montgomery, Scott, Woodford, Rowan, Morgan, or Magoffin counties, and there is a $500 registration fee. The fee covers the platform, which is separate from us. We have to pay for the computer platform. It is a high-level security platform that can run large amounts of money through it, and it is separate from us. The printing of the guide, which is quite expensive, distribution of the guide, trainings and events. We are ourselves, Bluegrass Community Foundation, a 501c3. We are a nonprofit ourselves. So all of that money goes literally right back into the challenge, and it basically helps pay for that. It doesn't even cover all of it, the registration fee, but it does help go towards it. And all the qualifying nonprofits will be eligible for prizes. So anyone who is on the platform can win. So if you're on the platform, you can win any of the prizes. This year's prizes will be, of course, there will be, some of them will be in the form of endowments. We are looking and are working towards what those prizes will be, as we always are this early in the season, and I'll talk more about that in a moment. Nonprofits are categorized on our website into small, medium, and large by annual revenue that is based on your 990. So the way we do that is to make sure that a really teeny tiny nonprofit is not in competition with a very, very large nonprofit for prizes. We know that that would not necessarily be fair. However, mosquitoes are quite mighty, and I say that because the little tiniest nonprofits sometimes make more money in the challenge than some of the largest nonprofits in many of the counties, and you'd be surprised. So to say that a teeny tiny nonprofit who has 0 staff and is run entirely by volunteers cannot compete with some of the largest nonprofits is completely false. That we've learned that over and over again over the years, and so your staff size really has nothing to do with what you can do in the challenge. It has everything to do with how you run the challenge. So we're still working to make 2017 the best yet. It is BGCF's 50th anniversary this year, and that's a big year here at the foundation, and we hope for givers across the region. So that means we have some details that are going to come later. We've got a lot of things in the works. Unfortunately, I can't share all of them right now, and because they're just not finalized. But we have done our prizes in the past in form of endowment. The past 2 years, that means that they did not go to operational dollars. We did have match money that did go to operational dollars, match money prizes that were put up by donors to the foundation. But our prizes that came from Bluegrass Community Foundation were done in the form of endowment. And that will still be the case on some of our prizes. We can guarantee that. But as far as operational dollar prizes, that will happen. And somebody just asked me a question. Having a central office, is a mailing address sufficient? Yep. If you do not have an office and you are just based out of wherever you're based out of, wherever your 501c3 address is, that counts. We do, as long as your zip code is in one of those counties, that absolutely counts. You don't have to have a office. All right, so what is a nonprofit endowment, if in case you're not familiar with that? It is basically a charitable investment account. It has a protected corpus. It is money that is invested for long-term growth, and additional contributions can come in at any time. And it has an annual spendable portion that is for grant making, and it ensures generations of giving and support. So basically the idea behind it is that you have an endowment, the endowment grows, donors can donate into it, you can invest in it, and over time you get a payout from it. And the payout you get every year, a yearly payout from it. And the idea is that it keeps money coming back to your nonprofit organization in perpetuity. So in lean times, you always have money coming back and that you can count on. And that's what an endowment is in a very, very basic nutshell. And so We do have many nonprofits that already have endowments here at the Bluegrass Community Foundation or elsewhere. And every organization with an endowment here has a chance to win additional dollars for their endowment, because more money means a bigger payout, and it means survival, even in lean times. But every organization without an endowment has the chance to win one and then build upon it, because endowments are attractive to donors because they get tax incentives for donating to endowments. So it's a big deal for a lot of donors. They get tax credits, Kentucky state tax credits, and we're a tax credit state, and we can talk lots more about that at another time. I don't want to get into too much heavy detail, but that is what it is. So at Bluegrass Community Foundation, we're committed to more sustainable, safer, stronger, and vibrant communities, and we believe that endowments enhance financial stability and allow charities to focus on delivery of quality programs. And as such, the Community Foundation is committed to providing technical support to help nonprofits grow and develop permanent charitable resources, and we will focus our nonprofit services efforts on those particular ideas, and that's why we do nonprofit endowment prizes, and that's partially why we do that. All right, so one of the things you have to ask yourself is the challenge right for your organization? And this is a big deal to me, which is, do you have the staff or volunteers who have the time and ability to run the administrative needs of the challenge? A lot of people, if you've never done it before, you have no idea. So I will tell you this. The challenge is a marathon. It is not a sprint. The 8-week work plan is designed, which is one of the first trainings, to make what seemed kind of like an insurmountable mountain of work into easily walkable hills. If you follow the timeline, it does work out very well. It's a 5-week event, but there is prep time prior to that. So you do need to think, do I have 8 weeks out of my schedule from November 29th through the December 31st, that does cross over the holidays, that this is going to be something I want to do? And I am going to have time in which I'm going to be in front of a computer. I'm going to be making, donor pleas. I'm going to be doing certain things to make efforts to make this happen. And do I have volunteers or staff or board who are going to join me on this? You need to ask yourself that. You can work to try to find matching gifts, even small matching gifts. That means you're reaching out to your board members, you're reaching out to the community, you're reaching out to present donor base, and you're saying, would you be willing to put up a $500 match gift to say, against any of these donations that we come up with? And if so, that's going to boost our work. I just got a message that my audio is cutting out. Is it cutting out for anyone else? I am on a phone, so I don't know how, I'm not sure how it would be exactly cutting out, but it could be something with a connection with my webinar program. Anyone else? All right. I'm not getting any other messages. Okay, good. Thank you. All right, so you're willing to try new things and think out of the box. If you are planning to run this challenge like you've run other fundraisers in the past, this will not work for you. And the reason I say that is you have to be willing to try new things, or this will not work. And this, again, has been proven. I have lots of different associates that are in the nonprofit community here, and they have run the same game every year, and it does not work. They do not raise the money. They are not competitive within the challenge, and they basically fall backwards in this, and it just doesn't go that way. So this is something that if you're going to join, you have to know that you're not going to run this like you've run other things in the past. This is going to be different, and I'm hoping that you're on here with us because you want to do that. Great question from Annie. Hi, Annie. I know you. You just asked you said if the GoodGiving prizes all go towards endowment, that means do the donations go towards the endowment as well, or does the nonprofit receive that? Everything you make online goes cash. That is all towards operational. Everything you raise online, it's just the prizes that are endowment. So everything you make online is cash, yours to do with as you see fit. Your nonprofit can choose to do with it as you will, but it's prize money that comes from just comes from us, from Bluegrass Community Foundation, that is in the form of endowment. But if we have, for example, a donor who comes to us and wants to put up a match prize, that match prize may go towards cash prize as well. It's completely up to the funder, so we don't have control over that, if that makes sense. So there you go. Hi, Annie. All right. So also, you're willing to make efforts on social media and or with digital engagement. When I say digital engagement, the people that have the most power during these challenges are always the people who try new things, especially via social media, especially who can reach out above the chatter, who learn to do more on social media if you're not already savvy on it. You don't have to be brilliant or magnificent, and you don't have to be on every social media challenge, but you need to try to be at least decent on one of them. And people who are really great on email. Digital engagement is email. You are digitally engaged if you're great on email. So that is another thing that we talk about, is how to be different. Also, you need to know that the challenge is around the holidays, and you're not trying to run more than one campaign unless you have the administrative staff to handle it. A lot of people do end of the year campaigns, and they try to do more than one. If you can, the challenge is not something you can add to the end of the year. You won't, it's very difficult to do the challenge and something else unless you have the administrative staff to do it. So I would think heavily. If you are, like, let's say you have a big gala, people say it two different ways, at the end of the year, and you want to do this too, unless you plan to incorporate it in some kind of way, and you have the staff that can make that happen. Be very careful and very judicious in your thinking when that comes about. You also know that the challenge is not about your current donors, but it's about gaining new donors and not just about the dollars raised. I say that as well because a lot of people gain a great deal of donors and people who will come back, especially if they give to you 2 times. They're usually a repeat giver after that. They've joined your giving family. So the idea is that we want to introduce them to you, and we want them to come back to you and meet you again. The idea is that this whole thing, the whole idea about the Good Giving Challenge is to have people to get to know you, new people, new givers. So steps for success, it's easier than you think. It is easier. I made it sound a little scary there, but it's not. We always say set a goal, whether it's donors, it's money, or it's prizes. If you want one of those things, if you set a goal, I'm sure you can achieve it through this. If you really want operational dollars and you really want to just raise the dollars online, there is a way to get there, and we will talk about it through training. If you really want to just gain new donors, there's a way to get there. We'll talk about it through training. And if you're really dead set on trying to get one of the prizes, then there's a way to get there, but we'll talk about it through training. If you can offer a matching grant, then great. There will be some matching grants that will be offered to you. Likely, they happen every year. I just never know when they're going to come. And the whole point of this is getting creative. We will do lots of activities to inspire that on your end, but you know your nonprofit more than anyone, better than I do. So you will be the one who will help make those decisions, but I will help guide that. Consider hosting a live event. We have a lot of people who think outside the box, and again, lots of those trainings that we will work on will foster that. We super absolutely encourage you to attend all of our possible trainings. They're free. They come with the challenge, and they are not, they're meant for you to make your challenge the best challenge it can be, and they're offered by us and our professional staff and guests from Bluegrass Community Foundation, and we have trainings from Civicor, who is our platform provider. Those are usually mandatory because they teach you how to utilize the platform in the best possible way. And basically, engage everyone you know. to make the ask, email, Facebook, Twitter, word of mouth. You do not have to be on any of those things. It is not required of you, but to be the most successful that you can be, I would highly suggest email at the bare minimum, Facebook at the minimum, and it's always helpful to add as many social media challenges as you feel comfortable with. I would never tell you to do more than you feel comfortable with, though. The top 5 things to remember in all of this is personalize your ask, help donors relate to your work. This is Basic 101, and you all know this already, but this is the stuff that will have to happen to make things work, and you can see this, you know this. You already send emails, I'm sure you call, I'm sure you tell stories about how your organization makes a difference, but in this case, you're probably going to have to think of it a little bit differently with the challenge. And concrete examples to describe your work. The idea about this, though, is maybe not the typical newsletter. It's not the typical mailings. It's not the typical things that you pop in the mail and send out. It's not as normal as it has been in the past. And to help you get an early start, to help you think outside the box, we have an 8-week work plan training boot camp that is on September 12th. That's how you get really rolling. We talk about how to approach key donors, about matching grants, adding page to your website, highlighting in your newsletter if you do have one, what does it look like, and providing reminders and all good stuff. And basically being creative. More than anything, this is about creativity. And you tap into your networks, your clients, students, boards, subscribers. We have universities all over here that will do that. And yes, Foster, we will be sending this out to everyone. You will be able to see a recording of this webinar in addition to getting the PowerPoint. I will have it available. So, and that's the other thing I just mentioned really quickly. For me, you get a one-on-one. I'm dedicated to this initiative as it is one of my main initiatives that I work on all year. And so you have me as your friend and colleague through the whole challenge. I take it very personally that everyone has the best experience that they possibly can, and I want to make sure that you enjoy the challenge and its struggles, and I do my best to make it the best that it can be for you. And I often am in charge of many of the trainings and I'll tell you what, I do try to make them entertaining, and there's usually food, so that's always good. Take advantage of your organization's strength and show off if you have a great space. Show it with a live event. Host a party or a happy hour if that's part of your deal, and if it's not part of your mission and, in fact, not anything near it, then something else. But invite people to your office if you can. If it's not part of your mission because of your client's needs, then we understand. But the idea is that you are doing everything you can to make something different. I give examples of Josephine Sculpture Park as a common thing. Melanie Van Houten is the executive director there, and she's a one-woman show. She has a great board who's supportive, but she's a single staff member. But she and her organization have raised more money over the past 2 years, and they've only participated for the past 2 years as a single group. And the reason why is because she hosts live events all over the place, coffee shops, restaurants, and she does stuff to make things more interesting for her, and she does it at virtually zero cost to herself. And she does it during the challenge. She brings a computer, has people donate to her organization while she's there, and she makes it about her organization. And she has taught more people about Josephine Sculpture Park by doing these little events to introduce people to her organization. And she's done a fantastic job of thinking outside the box, encouraging people to get to know Josephine Sculpture Park and being creative. Use pictures and videos. Brainstorm ideas. Be creative. Start a friendly competition. This organization here, for example, locked someone up. It was an animal organization. Locked somebody up in a dog cage to encourage people to give to the challenge so that they could buy more small kennels to transport animals that they were getting out in the community. These are dates to remember. So by Friday, June 2nd, everybody, if they can have a GoodGiving.net portrait, they need to be completed or up to date. So if you don't have one, that's totally fine, no problem. you just need to contact our BGCF Director of Nonprofit Services, Barbara Fisher. There's her email right there. And you can ask her with any questions. If not, just go right on to goodgiving.net, which is www.goodgiving.net, and you can check out how to get a portrait started. Monday, June 19th through Friday, June 30th, we will have registration for the Good Giving Challenge. Will begin at www.bggives.org. We will send out an email regarding this, and it's open for all of the qualifying nonprofits. And basically, you just register, just sign up. You don't have to do anything at that point. Monday, June 31st, the $500 participation fee is due. You can mail it in by check. You can send it in that way to us, and we will have it here, and then you are done. You're registered, you're in, and you're ready to go. And by Tuesday, September 12th, you will sign up, and I send out invites for all of this. I use Eventbrite, and we start with our boot camps. And I usually do our boot camp trainings more than once to make sure that as many people can participate in them as possible. And that's how it gets started. And then I do tons of boot camps, but that's the first one. But by Tuesday, November 28th, that's the kickoff. And we have our Philanthropy Party pep rally, we have press events, we have Good Giving, Give More events. Those are usually all over in different communities, and they last. There's different ones that we have planned coming up, and it's also Giving Tuesday. So there's so many different things that are going on that will happen. That was a lot of information, folks, I'm aware. So if you have anything else, so somebody just asked me this, yes, are there trainings for staff and board members? All of the trainings that we will be doing once you are registered are for staff and board members. We invite anyone from your staff, anyone from your board to attend any of the trainings that we offer. Once you are registered to be part of the Good Giving Challenge, all of our trainings are for staff and for board. So we want you to be trained about everything about the challenge. We encourage board training, your board to attend as many trainings as possible so they really understand what's going on with it. Does anybody else have any questions? The questions will be open here for just a few more moments. I'm going to go ahead and put up my questions. Anything else? You can type it in the question box. If not, feel free to contact me there. There's my email. You can also call me. That is my number there. And feel free to give me a ring. And I'll be happy to answer anything that I can about the challenge and let you know. Yes, the $500 registration fee is annual. That is, again, because the platform that we work with is very expensive. So we usually have done Civicor. Civicor is who we're using this year. Razoo is who we used in the past. And that's because anytime we're using a platform that is taking in donations, taking in credit card donations, ACH donations, yes, it's going to take checks this year, and all of those different things, and it's highly secure, a highly secure server. We couldn't do it through our website or a different website. That's one of the reasons. There's lots of other things, just even its technicality part. We have customer service through it. There's lots of different things. That's the number one highest expense of it. And then there's the printing of the print guide, if you've ever seen it before, through a publisher, not to mention the graphic design of it, all those different things. And again, keep in mind, we are a 501c3 ourselves. We're a nonprofit. So we never make money on the challenge. We're not, it basically comes in, all of that money goes back out. It's literally comes in, and it's very expensive to run the challenge. So all of the participants help pay for those costs. Yes, I will, the webinar for staff and for any slides that I will do, we're going to resend it back out. If you received an email regarding participating in this webinar from Barbara Fisher or from myself, and for anybody who was on this webinar, I of course will send it right back out, and I will get that going as soon as this webinar is uploaded. Any other questions? If you have any further questions, feel free to just email me, and I will be happy to answer them on my own. Other than that, thank you so much for joining me, and I appreciate you, and keep doing all the great work that you do, and hopefully you will join us on the challenge, and we will be working together this fall. Thank you so much.